lasted about 3 months because I obviously did not like my job. And across the street there was an Alzheimer's community, but I didn't know anything about Alzheimer's when I was 22. But I took the job as an activity person. And as you all know, I did these go on some cheap trips without even leaving the floor. And people, when I shared with them that I care for people with Alzheimer's, the response was usually, oh, that's such a terrible disease. And I think, yeah, I'd rather hang out with them than cognitive people. So I'm going to try to focus on the positive side of Alzheimer's because I think too often we focus on the negative side. But the first thing that I would like you all to do is go back to your childhood. Yes, some of you are going to have to go way back. way back. Start a little hot for me, but I would like you to think of something from your childhood that feels good just thinking about it. It could be a pet that you had growing up. It could be a place that you went to get away from all and everybody. It could be a brand new dress that you got. It could be the first day of school. I don't really know, but I don't want the one where you're smacking your brother, locking him in the closet, tying them up. I know those things feel good, but those are not the memories that we're shooting for right now. Anyone? Someone that just thinks, when you think about it, you're like, that was fun. That was a good memory. Anyone?
Spending time at the lake.
Spending time at the lake at your cabin. Name of your lake.
Well, it's embarrassing, like Harry.
Why is that embarrassing? What's So we're not, so in other words, she doesn't talk about the name of the lake, but she just wants y'all to know we had a cabin on the lake. So let's not talk about the name of the lake. That doesn't feel as good. We had a cabin, spending time at the cabin at the lake. Very nice. So when she was talking about spending time at the lake, how many of you thought of a place that you spent time at the lake? Yes. Anyone else find childhood memory? Yep.
Sitting in my daddy's lap.
Sitting in your daddy's lap. And was it in a rocking chair or was it in a recliner?
Wherever he was, wherever he was sitting in. I said it's like talking to his grandmother, so that always, even as an adult, that was my favorite.
Can anybody smell spoiled? They're all so a little jealous. Sitting in your daddy's lap, no matter where he was sitting, you felt comfortable enough to just crawl in. Excellent. Fun childhood memory. Yes?
Picking out my first puppy out of the litter. She was the runt. I wanted her.
Whoa. What color was she?
The white creamy color.
White creamy color. And what did you name your little runt?
Sugar.
Sugar, because she was a white creamy color. And was it like a certain type of dog, or was
She
it?
thought, well, this would be a designer dog now, but she was, a backyard kind of neighbor's dog. So she was a cockapoo, but people pay money for that.
Now they pay money for cockapoos, but back then it was just
so much.
Very good. Did you dress up your cockapoo? Did you dress up your? No, she would like to be dressed. No, shut up. Very nice. So when she's talking about her little puppy Sugar, how many of you got to pick out a puppy from the litter? Just you got to pick one. I know, isn't that great? So people got to be spoiled that way. Nicely done. So with this memory that you're thinking about, the one that you have, are you thinking about the whole day, every minute throughout the day? Like from when you woke up in the morning until you went to bed at night? Or are you just kind of thinking about that moment? Are you thinking about the whole day, every minute throughout the day? Or are you thinking about the moment? The moment. Our memory is made up of moments. People with Alzheimer's, they have these moments in their memory, but they can't pull out of the darkness a moment. You're going to have to bring in a puppy to trigger a moment in their memory. You might even have to sit in a rocking chair or sit in someone's lap to trigger, or see a little girl climb up in a guy's lap, just to trigger a moment in their memory. Or even just driving by the lake might trigger a moment in their memory. But I can tell you, they know the name of the lake. They know the name of their siblings. And they know they went there in the summertime or on the weekends. They have those details, but they have to see something, hear something to trigger a moment in their memory. Now, can anyone in this room create a perfectly wonderful day from morning until night? Nothing goes wrong if you're caring for a person with dementia or Alzheimer's. If you would raise your hand, I would take you home with me. We know that it is not possible to create a perfectly wonderful day. Do you know that all of you in here can create a perfectly wonderful moment? Any one of you could have taken the cheese and crackers and grapes and created a perfectly wonderful moment. Any one of you could bring in a puppy, create a perfectly wonderful moment. Any one of you could go for a drive with them, create a perfectly wonderful moment. 5 minutes later, do they remember what you said? No. 5 minutes later, do they remember what you did? No. You know what they do remember 5 minutes later? The feeling that you left them with. So if you had a really good cheeseburger together, that good feeling lingers on. And if you did their hair and put on a little rouge, that good feeling lingers on. And holding on to a puppy, that good feeling lingers on. So if we're all doing things that make them feel better, who do you think will get a better day? All of us. But we have to understand a person with Alzheimer's before we do this. Understand that they lose their short-term memory. How do you know they lose their short-term memory? What do? Ask the same question over and over and over again. What if you ask them what you have for supper and you just saw them eating? I didn't get anything to eat. I'm kind of hungry, even though you saw them eating 5 minutes ago. What if you talked to them about their son who came to see them last night? I haven't seen my son in months. You saw my son? So we know that they lose their short-term memory. They don't remember what happened 5 minutes ago. They don't remember what happened that morning. They don't remember what happened last weekend. They don't remember what happened 10 years ago. But the positive side of this disease is they retain picking out the runt of the litter, calling him sugar, and it was their puppy. The positive side of this disease is they remember the cabin, going to the lake, and yeah, don't talk about it, it's just Lake Erie. So they have these details. Hello, hello, hello. Whose responsibility is it to chat about the memories that they still have instead of what you have for lunch today? What'd you do this morning? Remember the drive I took you on yesterday? Whose responsibility is it to chat about the memories that they still have instead of what they did this morning or yesterday? Ours. Every conversation needs to focus on the memories that they still have. So one of my joys is walking in the rain. I don't think I'll get that while I'm here, but that's okay. I love to walk in the rain. I went out walking in the rain one night, walked into a home, and this lady, she comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, honey, you're so wet. Could I get you a towel?" And I said, "You know, I love a good thunderstorm, and I love to swim. I love the water." And she goes, "I love to swim." I'm like, "You do?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "When I was 8 years old, there were 2 kids in the river, and they didn't look like they were going to make it. So I jumped in, grabbed the girl by the hair, and told the little guy, 'You better hang on,' and I swam." I'm like, "Wow." She goes, "Yeah, I couldn't touch the bottom." I was like, "Holy cow." She goes, "Yeah, but I did. I touched the bottom, and I pushed those kids to shore." And I went, "You saved their lives?" She goes, "Honey, all I knew was I was shaking, and I didn't swim for 2 years. How many times do you think I heard that story in the 15 minutes we were chatting? Over and over and over again. Here's the thing, they can't pull out of the darkness a story. Something has to trigger it. What triggered it for this person? My hair was wet, triggered her story. Do you know that each of you in this room is going to hear a story from someone, and you too will get to hear a story over and over and over, and you have a choice to go, or you can think to yourself, I'm going to remember this one for this person, because I know as this disease progresses, she will lose the ability to tell me those stories. And when she loses the ability to tell me those stories, what do you think will create joy for her? Telling her that story. These things that irritate you, that they do over and over again, actually have what for them? Meaning. In fact, 2 months later, I walked into the community and I just said to the lady, "Hey, you been swimming lately?" She said, "No. But when I was 8 years old, there were 2 kids in the river. They didn't look like they were going to make it." What did I have to say to trigger her story? What if now everyone knew the word swimming? You came in and said swimming. You came in and said, "Hey, you've been swimming." She would get to then do what? Tell her story. Do you not think she'd get a better day? Because just telling that story leaves her with the what? Good feeling about saving those kids. Okay, so the other thing about this disease that's more confusing, as this disease progresses, they lose more and more memory. Therefore, they get younger in their mind. How do you know they get younger in their mind? What are the questions they ask? Who do they look for? Their parents. So we know they get younger in their mind. You know what we tend to focus on? What'd you have for lunch today? Can they answer that? What'd you do this morning? Can they answer that? You remember the drive I took you on yesterday? When you ask questions from their short-term memory, you're setting them up to what? Fail. But when you can figure out what age they're living in their mind at this moment, this is where their memories are, right? So if their question 50 times a day is, where's my mom? Maybe that's the question they ask. How old are they in their mind at this moment? Child. Their question 50 times a day, where's my husband? But when he walks in, they're thinking, ew, I'll be nice to him for 10 minutes, but then he has to go. How old are they in their mind at this moment? Because they want their husband. Young adult. Constantly looking for their kids, but when their kids come in, which kids are they really looking for? Their little kids. So how old are they in their mind? Early 20s, early 30s. But let's go with their husband. That's their thing. That's what they want. And in their 20s, they lived in Missouri, but now they live there in Dallas, right here. Where in this moment do they believe they're living? Missouri. Who's got to get the pictures out of their 20s, like pictures of maybe family reunion with their grandparents, instead of the pictures of the grandkids from the family reunion this weekend? Who's got to get the homestead, the Missouri homestead picture, and talk about that instead of what they did this weekend? Because this is where their memories are at. And your whole goal is, how can I make them feel like who they want right now is perfectly okay? How can I make them feel like who they want right now is perfectly okay? The other thing we tend to do is focus on who your dad was 10 years ago. Like, you might tell me about him. You say he was a businessman, he was a board member, he was an accountant. Well, when I meet him, he just wants Betsy. 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 All he wants is Betsy all day long. And you're thinking, my dad's the businessman, my dad's the board member. Who could Betsy be if that's who he's looking for? That's all he wants. Each person, do you know people want something? They want someone, they want something. Your whole goal is to figure out who it is, what it is, and then how can I make them feel like that person or that thing's perfectly okay right now? So if they're looking for Betsy, who do you think Betsy is? You gotta figure out who it is. Come on, give me some guesses. His sister. Who else might Betsy be? The cow, absolutely. Who else might Betsy be? Child, friend. Betsy could be about anybody. But we have to figure it out. So we're going to go with the first guess. We think Betsy is maybe his sister. Maybe there's just two of them. It's his sister. So we look at him and we say, she's upstairs taking a nap. And then he gives you this look like, liar, crazy woman. Can you not tell him when you give him the wrong answer? And they look at you like, where did you fall from? Because for this person,